The year is 2020, and you have decided to begin playing World of Warcraft. You're essentially showing up to a raging party at 2 a.m., bone sober, looking to get caught up with everybody else. In this video series, my job is going to be your best friend, to just beer bong as much WoW information into your brain as I can so that you can start enjoying this game as much as I do. WoW's been around for 16 years and had 7 different expansions, and it can be really overwhelming for a brand new player. But luckily for you, I've been around for all 16 of those years, and I'm going to be breaking things down as simply as I can to help you start enjoying the game right away, focus on what's important and ignore the things that aren't. So, welcome to WoW School. In this video, I'm going to be talking about character movement and just the basic user interface that you need to use to get started with the game. This is my level 1 Blood Elf Paladin, Yogurt, and he's going to be helping us learn how to move around in World of Warcraft. So, in WoW, we use a basic WASD format to move our character around. W is forward, S is back, A turns you to the left, and D turns you to the right. To have your character strafe, you can press Q to strafe to the left, and E to strafe to the right. To jump, we press spacebar. The more common or recommended way to move your character around is actually using your mouse. If you hold down your left mouse button, you'll notice that your character turns himself around. I can use this button by holding it down to turn my character in 360 degrees. If I hold down both mouse buttons, I can now kind of aim the way that my character runs, and then I can still use my movement keys with my left hand to sort of move him side to side and control where he's going. Alright, so let's talk about the user interface, or UI, which are the different parts of the screen that you interact with as you play the game. The first one I want to talk about is your nameplate, which is up here in the top left part of the screen. This represents your character's level. The green bar represents your health, the blue bar represents your mana, and to the right of it is your target. So if I click on this mana worm, now I see his health and mana too. If I go into combat with him, you'll notice that his health begins to drop, as does mine as he hits me. So I'm going to fight this mana worm until he is dead. Okay, now his health is 0. The nameplates can be moved. So I find up here in the top left corner to be kind of awkward to look at. I prefer to right click it, mouse down to move frame and unlock frame. I like to drag mine sort of closer to the middle of my screen. This is just personal preference though, so that I can see my health more easily. And I also like to do the same thing for my target's nameplate. So I like to put them kind of next to each other like this. Alright, next up is your action bars. So down here at the bottom of the screen, I have this gray bar with a bunch of little icons on it that have numbers. These are your character's abilities. By mousing over each ability, you can see what it does. So for example, I have one ability called Crusader Strike. It must be cast in melee range. Its cast time is instant. It has a 6-second cooldown, and it attacks the target for 11 physical damage. So if I go up to this tiger cub and I press the number 1, I'm going to do Crusader Strike, and now I can see the ability counting down until the next time I can use it. Once it's fully highlighted, I can use it a second time. So that's my first ability. I also have a second ability. Mousing over that, it's called Judgment. It has a 30-yard range, which means I can attack it from a distance, and it has an instant cast time with a 12-second cooldown. So let's try using Judgment on one of these mobs. I'll click it, press the corresponding button too, and there's Judgment. Now I can use both abilities together when they come off of cooldown to defeat these monsters. If you're wondering, like, where do these abilities come from? When you first level up, any new ability you gain will immediately be put on your action bar for you, but after a while, you'll get so many that you won't be able to fit them all on one action bar. You can add more action bars, or you can just press this little down arrow on the right here and start a new one. Your abilities also live in your spell book, which you can access by pressing P. So this is my spell book. You'll notice that I have 2 abilities unlocked here, and everything that's grayed out tells me what level I have to be to finally unlock that abilities. There's different specializations for each class, which is a topic for another video. But what you really need to know for now as a brand new player is that by pressing P, you can drag an ability out of your spellbook and place it on your action bar. I only have 2 abilities, so I don't have much to work with. But now I could use either 1 or 3 for my action bar. To remove it, I can't simply drag it. I need to hold Shift, drag that icon off the screen, and then dump it. So as you gain new abilities, you're going to want to constantly add them to your action bar so that you can use them. I mentioned adding new action bars. To do that, you can press Escape, go to the Interface option on your game menu, click on Action Bars, and then you can just check one of these boxes, for example, bottom left bar. Okay, now you can see down here at the bottom, I've got more space for additional abilities. The next important UI element I want to talk to you guys about is the character screen. You can access the character screen by pressing C. So on this screen, you can see what your character looks like. You can see your character's gear and their stats. So as a brand new character, you can see that most of my gear slots, like head, neck, shoulders, back, are all empty because I haven't got any gear for those pieces yet. I do, however, have some gear. For example, in my chest slot, I've got an Initiate's Vest. When I mouse over the item, I can see its stats. I have a weapon here, Battle-Worn Claymore. Again, I can see its stats, and a couple more pieces of gear here. I also can see my character's stats. I have strength, stamina, and armor at the moment. More will be added later. If you're wondering what your stats do, you can mouse over them and you can find out how different stats affect your character. Also on this screen, you can see your reputation down here under the reputation tab. This is how much different non-player character factions like your character. Sometimes when you increase a reputation high enough, you unlock different rewards from that faction. Not something you really need to worry too much about yet as a brand new player, but if you kill something and you see, for example, my Orgrimmar reputation is gained, you can go into this tab and notice that your reputation is going up with that faction. One very simple piece of the UI that we need to talk about is this little purple bar down here. This is your experience bar, and every time that it fills all the way up, you're going to move on to the next level. So if you hover over the experience bar with your mouse, you'll actually see how much experiences you have, how much is needed to move on to the next level. If you slay a monster or complete a quest, a little purple text will pop up letting you know how much experience you gained from doing that. So as I slay this poor mana worm, come on, I can see I got 120 experience for that. If I do that one more time, sorry Springpaw Cub, it's for learning. Notice that the bar filled all the way up and I've reached level 4. Good job, me. Alright, let's talk about your character's inventory. So if I press the B button, it brings up my backpack over here, and as you can see right now, my backpack has 4 items in it. It has my Hearthstone, which I'll talk about in a second. I've got Faintly Glowing Eye, Torn Worm Scale, and Initiate's Boots. Notice that when I mouse over Faintly Glowing Eye and Torn Worm Scale, the titles of those items are gray. That means they're essentially trash and they only exist in the game to be sold to a merchant for money. So I can find an NPC that's a merchant by mousing over the NPC, and I notice that this one, my mouse turns into a gold bag, cursor. So by right-clicking on her, now I can see that those 2 items I was talking about have a little gold icon on top of them. That means I can right-click them and safely sell them without worrying about losing an important item. Notice that my Initiate's Boots do not have that gold icon. That means that this is equipable gear. I want to make sure it's not an upgrade before I sell it. So I can bring up my backpack again by pressing B. I can mouse over that item and hold down Shift. That's going to compare it to what I'm actually wearing. Now I see that if I equip this item, I'm losing 1 armor. So I don't want it. Now I can safely sell it, knowing it's not an upgrade for my character. Okay, finally your Hearthstone. Mine's on cooldown because I was just fiddling with it a second ago. But if I right click this item, it will actually teleport me back to my character's home location, wherever that may be. Now, as a brand new character, your home location is literally just the place where your character spawns. But as you move throughout the world, you'll be able to find innkeepers and change that home location to wherever you want to go when you click this button. So it's a great way to, when you're maybe done playing, you can head to an inn and log out, or if you just need to go back, turn in a quest, something like that. Hearthstones are a great shortcut. Now you might be saying, but Donkey Storm, when I watch other people play WoW, their user interface doesn't look anything like mine. That's because a lot of players who play WoW take advantage of the fact that its user interface is very customizable and it has lots of room for you to bring in your own add-ons to keep track of whatever information you feel like you need. I would suggest just rolling with the beginner user interface until you figure out what it is that you want to see more of. Like, what more information do you need yourself, which you can only learn by just experiencing the game and learning how to play. So I would hold off on trying to make my UI look like your favorite mythic raiders and instead just focus on getting that beginner UI to work for you until you figure out how you would like to improve it. Thank you for watching this guide, and I truly hope that it was helpful for you and your experience as a new WoW player. New WoW players are what's going to keep this game alive for 16 more years, so I wish you the best of luck in getting started with your WoW journey. Um, Next up in my guide series is going to be about leveling up and questing, which is pretty much the cornerstone of how you begin actually playing the game. So I hope you stick around for that and move on to my next video to learn more about leveling and questing. If you would like to see more content like this or enjoyed this guide, I'd really appreciate it if you threw me a like and maybe even a sub. This has been Donkey Storm, and good luck in your adventures in World of Warcraft.